And most of us ain't paid this stuff no attention.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kamala became the acting president, the only way Joe Biden, he had to come out of anesthesia in case he come out with brain damage.
So he went
He
in
had
with
to,
brain damage.
right.
No.
He went in with the character went in with Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that when the character come out of anesthesia, he can never be put back in power because he's not cognitively astute. He can't make decisions. And that's why he sounded like a babbling idiot for 4 years.
I'm gonna throw this up. It's a totally different subject, but since somebody puts it up, I saw something twice. Is Brother Panic not here with us anymore? I don't know. Do you know?
Who went to the funeral?
You did?
I said, who went to the funeral?
I don't know.
Where is it?
The same people that went to eat. What's his name? Effie. Because I was wondering where he was, where they buried him when they had a funeral for him, but maybe it was because he was such a bad person.
If somebody, the magnitude of Brother Panic, with the amount of people that knew him, there would have been some kind of memorial service. I
Well,
would
I know they had
suspect.
some kind of event that you had to buy a ticket to, but I don't know whether that was the memorial or what. But I remember seeing that because I
No.
really discovered. We don't know. The answer is we don't know.
Anybody know who's seen the body?
I don't know. That's all I can say. See, I just started something. I don't know.
I be asking these questions for the people that be wanting to know to look a little deeper. Don't just take the cover story. Because everybody we think gone ain't gone. And a lot of people that we think still here is being played by skin mask and deep fake technology.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yep. I'm just throwing
Thank
numbers out.
y'all for the solar return wishes.
Yeah, trying to click on some of them. Okay, right there we go. So we thank you. I thank you. I thank each and every one of you. Know I love y'all. Those of you who come be with us next Friday, the 22nd, it's gonna be. Especially if you want to know, how to. You need to connect with the teacher, Lady J, and Sister Armenta L rather, um, and Brother Dave, but especially those that like, how do I get out of this? How do I get out? We're gonna have the answers next Tuesday. Next Friday, the 22nd. 22nd, 2-2. That's a number. That's a good number, right?
Tomorrow's gonna be a brighter day. That's all I can tell y'all.
Well,
Exactly
my
when
faith
tomorrow's
already.
gonna be here, I can't tell you.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. So we getting ready to get out of here. I'm just kind of click up. I'm just sitting in, bringing some of the. I don't want to ignore some of you, but thank you, thank you for being here. We're gonna go out with. I'm gonna just put the banner up so y'all can know to come on and be here on next Friday. Those last time we had one sister came all the way, traveled all the way from California for our Friday night session. We had people from Indianapolis and from Atlanta and everything. I mean, it was we had to bring chairs up from the downstairs because we didn't have enough room for everybody, enough seats rather for everyone. So I hope to see that and you all would come and get this information that's not going to be available on tape because we don't tape those sessions because every time we do those, we're talking about stuff that we don't want, to put out there in the open public. So you have to come and get it, and you want to make the connect with them, and you have to meet them here. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. G.
Love you too, Chief. Love you too. Okay, y'all.
Of information.
Wow. Wow. And so, according to you, based on what I've heard, the way we can restore harmony and balance is by restoring the matriarchy. Is that correct?
That's the only way.
I
That's
don't
the
know if
only
that's
way.
going to go. I don't know if that's going to go over too well, Chief. Because even when you first told me that, I was like, I don't know if we're ready for that, Chief.
Well, we got to be ready for it because before 1492, we haven't been away from the matriarchy on the land totally since they've been here, but we had to put the male chiefs out front for the purpose of war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in order for us to perpetuate healing, you have to put the nurturing tribal mothers out front.
Mm.
The mothers is the healers of the nation.
Okay.
And this is why healed women heal women, because the mitochondrial resonance allows the healed women to be able to download the healing sequence of the woman that recovered.
I see.
So so they use conjure magic to break up the sisterhood. It was
Mm.
called the shattering of the Sibyls. And
Okay. Can you?
those were the high priestesses of the land, the oracles of the land. Right. Mommy Water is part of the Mommy Water writings, and she tell you about it. The sacerdotal seat is the Pope sits under it. He can't sit on it. He's not a woman. And they
Ooh.
tell us that it's St. Peter's seat. But St. Peter's seat is in a whole different place in Europe.
Is this why the Pope like worships Madonna, or give reverence to the Madonna, because he knows this is the correct way?
Yeah. And he know that if he don't acknowledge her, his kingdom will crumble, but he don't have to tell us he acknowledging her. He got us acknowledging some stringy hippie that's going to come back with a Philharmonic orchestra surfing on the cloud to save the souls of the innocent lambs of the earth. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So how did they use conjure wars in order to destroy the matriarchal systems that were here before?
Well, right here, over here, right, the controlling conjures coming out of DC.
Okay.
So the breaking of the conjure, this is why they got all of those buildings fenced in.
What? Okay.
They've been fenced in since 2020. See anybody? Okay, it's a young lady on YouTube named Nancy Drew.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she been going around showing you everything fenced in for the last 5 years.
She sure has. You're right. She sure has.
And then if you remember the Senate hearings from the Iran-Contra, and if you remember any of the Senate hearings from the 90s, and you see where they doing Senate hearings, that's not the same building. It's not the same location. So they somewhere else masquerading as if they doing Senate hearings. The corporation is dead. It's a defunct corporation.
Okay.
The most recent thing was they finally fenced in the Federal Reserve. That means we seized that. And on the heels of that, the United States Treasury had to buy all of the banks to keep people from losing all of their money.
That's not common knowledge, is it? That the United States Treasury bought all the banks? Okay. Wow.
The United States Treasury is not even in D.C. no more. It's on tribal land and right outside Reno, Nevada.
Wow. Okay. This is excellent news. What does this mean for we the people?
Okay, so we going away from fiat currency.
Okay.
And we transferring over to gold-backed currency. Okay. The Federal Reserve System was the fiat system tied to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The United States Treasury System is going to be tied to the BRICS. Right, but it has to come online first, which means they have to crash the Federal Reserve System publicly, so they can justify switching over to what's used to be called United States Treasury notes.
I see.
Right. Remember, JFK tried to bring back the silver certificate United States Treasury notes. Right, and the Federal Reserve was in on what happened with him. Because you got to remember, it was overseen by George Herbert Walker Bush, and he's come from the oil tycoon line on the Bush line and from the bankers off the press guys.
Okay.
So he had a double interest because he got controlling the oil interests, right? So you got to remember what was going on at the time that they assassinated JFK. He's doing speeches condemning the church for sending people to say, since you're a Catholic, you need to work for us Jesuits, and he pretty much told them to KMA. right? So he came out and did the speech to separation of church and state,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Then
Right.
he discovered that there was this all these secret societies was plotting to claim America away from the tribes, from the people.
Mm.
He came out and he did a speech at the press club. Is the name of the speech to the press club, addressed to the press or something like that. But in it, he talks about the secret societies and the methods they was using that was telling the public what was going on behind the scenes. And now he's coming with the Federal Reserve. Okay, they filed bankruptcy, so they're insolvent already. So they got us betting on ass, as they say in the gambling casino. Right? We gambling with money that doesn't have anything to support us to cash it in.
Okay.
Right? So we use the monopoly money and we trying to get people to do business with us with monopoly money and as if it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they were only credits to float the banking system to administer this artificial government. This corporate government was what the real bankruptcy was about. The government went bankrupt. The banker stepped in and gave them loans. Then they foreclosed on the loans because the corporate government couldn't pay the loans back. Then when they took over, they used the Congress to pass a series of bills, the Federal Reserve Act, the Buck Act, the Internal Revenue Act, the United States tax codes. All of that came out together as part of a means to turn us into debt servants, put us under contractual slavery, because everybody know debt equals slavery.
Right.
So and the good credit score means you've been a good slave.
Ooh. Mm.
So they know who they can trust to give larger and larger amounts of access to the credit without having to use their indemnity account.
Mm.
They trade that in the international market and backs roll birth certificates. Right? Wall Street was always founded on human trafficking. When they talk about pork bellies, they talk about babies.
Wow.
Right? When they talk about all of those are codes. Ain't none of that stuff what they telling you.
Okay.
And then now they phantom trading because Wall Street been shut down for a couple of years, so they phantom trading. They just making up numbers to make it look like it's some real trading going on.
Wow, I did not know that.
I've been telling people that for years. I was saying, if you get you a good stock, hurry up and ride it and cash out because they just phantom trade.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So
Right.
while they phantom trading, they ain't telling you that they got caught laundering over $1 trillion in drug money, $1 trillion in international illegal firearm sales, $1 trillion and over $1 trillion in proceeds derived directly from the trafficking in humans. All of this is on the record. It ain't even no secret.
Mm. Mm. So
But
we're
they,
not just making this up. Go ahead.
yeah, but they're not going to talk about it on the news,
Right. Right.
right? But the World Court already came out and gave their findings.
Mm.
They had one of the judges was assigned to tell us. He came out and told us, and we seen it. We just thought, oh, that's a nice little thing you just said, and kept going on about our business. Everything that we be telling people, the people that's really telling them what's going on, they not being listened to. But the ones that's giving them misdirection and running David Copperfield tricks on them the ones they focus on.
Mm.
And the ones that they can gossip about. Now, that's the biggest thing because we love gossip so much that anything that they can throw out there it's like throwing a bone for a dog to chase while you break into the house. You know, we chase the gossip to our own detriment.
Mm.
Look, the people that need to be worried about their own self-liberation know more about Puffy Case than they know about the movement of the Federal Reserve.
That's so true.
They can tell you inside and out the whole of the Puffy case, but they can't tell you that the tribe's been systematically doing step by step reclaiming of the land for the last 10 years and show you each step of the way where it was being done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was being done in everybody's face. They said we had a right to use our system, the oral tradition, to take everything back. So I've been using the oral tradition to systematically take everything back. And they've been giving Empress Redbird all the receipts. The foundational documents in which the fraud is built on in order to use the fruit of the poison tree doctrine, all of the ones that follow are also null and void. So they gave her the paperwork, right? Sending good vibes to Empress Redbird, by the way. She in seclusion right now. So, but she watch you. She love your show, and yeah. So I told her I was talk to you about getting her on here one day.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. People been telling me about her as well. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
she's very important to the land because okay, so people know about allodial titles, but what they don't know is the tribes never needed a title. That's European in origin. So when the Europeans staked the claim over here, the king of England, the king of France, and the king of Spain signed off on allodial contracts, which was allotted by royal families to the lords. The lords become the landlords, the land barons.
Okay.
Then the systematic way to keep you from ever striking out against them is to create a structure, and they give you what's called a property tax system. And they allow you to make it up to pay your own taxes on your own, and that way you don't feel like you being forced to pay for land that can't nobody buy or sell.
Mm.
You can only be appointed a portion of territory according to your capabilities to work the land. If you're not a farmer and you in the city talking about when we gonna get our land back, you're not finna go to no farmer and do that hard ass work. Don't even worry about it.
Mm.
Plus, half of us gonna be wealthy, so you know how we gonna do. As soon as we get a job, as soon as we get some money, and we ain't going to work.
That's true.
We not going to work, especially when we in this victim mentality of post-traumatic slave disorder.
Mm.
We actually hold more energy to the slave narrative, never knowing that they turned the story around from prisoners of war to servants of a master. And that's how you create a master race. But the master race ain't the ones that they telling you. They using decoys, deceivers, fall guys, crash dummies, stunt dummies. They supposed to take the fall when we wake up because we supposed to be so groggy that everybody screaming kill Whitey think they talk about paleface. Whitey ain't even paleface. He a Moor, according to Black's Law Dictionary.
Yeah.
Right? So if the white man is a Moor, who the black man? Amaru. They look alike, but they ain't the same.
Okay.
George Washington Challenge, 200 years, you won't know what side of the water you belong to. I know exactly what side of the water I belong to. I'm Mississippi clay dirt walking, organic to the land, sprang from the land like a tree.
Autogenous. Yes.
Been here from the beginning, gonna be here to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So when all of these things is taking place across the land, we've been taught to follow the what's called mainstream narrative, because everybody knows it's easier to swim with the current than to go against it.
Absolutely.
But how you get to be a stronger swimmer is you swim against the current.
Mm. Mm.
You might struggle at first, but you're gonna get strong enough to swim against the current. That's the same as you standing there knowing the truth, trying to tell everybody that's thinking you crazy what the truth is, and they looking at you like you from somewhere else.
Right. Right.
right? And you just sound like a babbling idiot, but most people don't know that smart people sound crazy to dumb people. And you living in a system that requires them to use Skinner box technology and Pavlovian response systems to systematically dumb you down in education.
Mhm. Let me
And
ask you a
Chinese,
question. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
You mentioned us being, what you say, prisoners of war.
Yes.
How did that come about? Please, I don't want to interrupt your thought, though. I can wait till you finish your thought.
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, so remember, they told us in history class that Columbus was looking for an alternative route to India.
Right.
And that's what they told us, right?
So this, yes.
The first problem is India didn't become India until the 1950s.
Mm,
It was Hindustan for hundreds of years before that.
okay.
So what India is he looking for? So they are operating under what's called the white man's burden. We call it the doctrine of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
They are in exile following the French Revolution and the Spanish Inquisition, in which they exiled the Islamic Moors from Europe. The first place they exiled them to was Northern Africa, right? And they went to put ships together to do expeditions because they needed a homeland because they wasn't native nowhere. It wasn't nowhere for them to go,
Okay.
right? So under the papal doctrine of discovery, the Pope first gave the Spanish conquistadors permission to settle the Americas,
Mm,
right? And this is Christopher Columbus was actually from the Colonial family, which is one of the secret black nobilities of Europe. That's actually melanated, nappy-head people. And they came over here to establish a home front for the so-called lost tribes of Israel in the Bible. But they
oh,
made it up. It's all made up.
okay.
And is used for the application of military conquest. Okay, so now that the Spanish conquistadors is heading this way, Christopher Columbus is coming from Spain,
Mm-hmm.
being funded by Isabella and Ferdinand. Remember?
Okay. Yes, yes, I remember that.
Okay, now remember what happened when he came back and told them about the Americas and all of that? And not too long after that, they got beheaded. That was part of the rebellion.
Oh.
They was looking for an alternative location to set up shop.
Mm,
The White House is Casablanca. So they used sigil magic in DC and established a White House, a Casablanca,
okay.
on this land as an embassy. That's why DC is a 10 square mile enclave. It's not a city.
Okay.
It's a city state. It's separate from all of the rest of the stuff on the land. They don't got nothing to do with nobody outside of the 10 square miles of DC. But they
Mm,
tricked us with post office boxes because they use the postal zones are the grids for what's called the Plymouth crash.
okay.
Remember Malcolm say we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us?
Yes.
If you look up Plymouth Rock, it's to commemorate a crash
Mm,
down in the bay by DC, where the embassy at.
mm,
Crash site, ground zero.
wow.
And they came to law the flag. Now they wage a war on us with the Spanish and the English gentry. These are your British nobles that's also being exiled and they still look like us. But they ain't us. They move up into New Jersey and upstate New York and gated communities and they talk about us